All the praise, all the glory, all the honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me the truth. I also want to acknowledge all the Akyam who are pushing the truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. This is Shabai from GMS in the Denver camp, and I'm going to go in on Matthew 16 through the Spirit, and it's starting out at the top. It says, the Pharisees also with the Sadducees came and tempting desired him that he would show them a sign from heaven. And they were coming up to Yahweh Shai. They wanted a sign. They wanted him to perform a miracle, right? Because the people who are not of the elect, they literally need a miracle because they don't have faith, you see. Being in this ministry, being of the elect, one of the gifts the elect has is faith, okay? So we don't need a tangible evidence or tangible sign or a sign in the heavens. All we need is our faith. Okay? So let's keep reading. Verse 2. He answered and said unto them, when it is evening, ye say, it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. And in the morning it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowering. O ye hypocrites, you can discern the face of the sky, but can ye not discern the signs of the times? Okay? So Yahweh Shai is cutting them in the spirit. Like you can tell the weather patterns by looking at the sky, but you don't see the signs of the times. And remember the so-called white man, the Edomite, his kingdom. Basically, the beginning of his kingdom collapsing, his rulership declining, was during the time of Yahweh Shai. Okay? Yeah, he had a chance to flourish as the Greeks, the Romans, the American Edomites. But ultimately, the downfall of this so-called white man was the coming of our Lord Yahweh Shai, the first coming, right? So they were not able to discern the sign of the times. Like if they were in their right mindset, they'd have been like, oh shoot, this is the Son of God in front of us, the Son of Yahweh, right? They would know that their kingdom was coming to a halt. Even though, that was 2,000 years ago, but it was still the beginning of the downfall. And now we're in the latter times. We're in the last days. So how much more quicker is this devil's rulership? How much more time does he have to rule? And he can feel it in his spirit that he's losing his grip and he's losing his kingdom, right? Let me grab this real quick. I think it's Ecclesiasticus 8, maybe? What? No, I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, I'm tired. I'm way off. So it's 2nd Esdras. I should have known that too. 2nd Esdras 9:1. It says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time. wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Okay? So we have to measure the time diligently. And what do we do to measure the time diligently? We look at the state of this place. You know, you look at the times we're in. You see that these nations, these countries, they have nuclear power, they have nuclear war. They're capable of bringing. You know, they have. There's all these different end time signs and prophecies are showing up in these last days. You know, during the time of Yahweh Shai, they didn't have nuclear missiles, right? None of the countries. But now it's manifested into that type of these weapons of mass destruction, right? So that's a sign of the times. And then you see the Israelites standing on their feet on the street corners in Babylon and all over the world where we've been scattered. This is a sign of the time. You see? So if you don't have a spiritual eye and you don't understand prophecy, you're not going to be able to measure the time diligently. You're not going to understand what time frame you're in according to prophecies. All right? Let's go back to Matthew 16. It says, but you cannot discern the sign of the times. It says, a wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, and there shall no sign be given unto it, but the sign of the prophet Jonas. And he left them and departed. Right? And that's what I was saying too. Like, the prophets are a sign. He says right here, but the sign of the prophet Jonas, and he left him right away. He departed, right? So, for us to be able to understand this truth, for us to be out preaching boldly, preaching with authority, preaching with knowledge and understanding, this is a sign. But the majority of these people, they're so, they're in gross darkness, so they don't even realize the significance of the prophets being out there on the highways and the byways, right? Matthew 16:5, it says, and when his disciples were come to the other side, they had forgotten to take bread. Then Yahushua said unto them, take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees. So Yahushua is warning them, like, hey, be careful with these false prophets out here. You know? Because he's looking at this adulterous generation, and he had just got done saying, look, these people don't even know what times they're in. They can't discern the times. They don't understand. They can't discern the sign of the times, right? There's signs all over and all around us. But if you're not of the elect, everything's going to go right over your head. You're not going to have a spirit to be able to decipher and to discern and to recognize what time we're in. That's why these 2/3 are a good example. They're not worried. The 2/3 are not worried about salvation. They're not worried about. They don't believe that we're in the last days, right? Just like the heathen. The heathen don't think that this is the end. I mean, there is a spirit and a vibration that a lot of people can feel it, that, you know what, maybe these dudes are right. Maybe these prophets are right. These prophets of doom, right? Now you see recently, and I'm going to do more research on this, Lord willing, this week. Lord willing, tomorrow, actually. I want to go into more in depth of what's going on with England. I believe it's you. Let me just type it right now. Actually, UK. Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, see, It says, well, let me read this first. Their inward thought, Psalm 49:11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. Okay, so these heathen, these 2/3, because they have a heathen mindset. They literally think that this place is going to continue forever. Their dwelling places are going to just generation to generation, you know. They don't understand or believe or you know, they don't understand prophecy. They can't discern the sign of the times. They can't measure the time diligently because they're in a low vibration, and this really, at the end of the day, it's because the Holy Spirit is not dealing with them. So they think that this place is just going to continue on forever and ever and ever, right? And you know, in history, in the biblical history, you have examples where, kingdoms that were and empires that fell. Like the one that comes to mind is Nebuchadnezzar, right? Let me see something real quick. Let's see. Nebuchadnezzar, he didn't want to accept the prophecy in the book of Daniel, right? He didn't want to believe that Babylon, ancient Babylon, was going to fall and collapse, right? And that's the same thing with these people. They don't want to believe, or they don't want to accept that America is going to collapse. And you have their economists, you know, you have the prophets. They call us the prophets of doom. We're out on the street corners telling you this place is going to collapse according to biblical prophecy. You have economists telling you that the economy is going down the drain, right? It says here, like right here, I just pulled up, this is what I typed in, the UK digital ID mandatory, and it pops up a bunch of articles. And the one article I'm looking at says more than 1.6 million sign a petition opposing Starmer's plan for digital ID cards. Do you think that petition is going to override the agenda of the wicked? The answer is no. And why do we know that? Because we know that it's prophecy. We know it's biblical prophecy. It doesn't matter how many signatures you get on a petition. The will of the Most High is going to be fulfilled. The will of the Most High is for this Edomite to implement this mark of the beast in an attempt to control everything, right? Revelation 13:16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Okay, so 666. The mark of the beast. That's the patent number also on those RFID micro C-hips. See, the phone chimed on that. All right, so this digital ID is another stage of gradualism, where this devil, the so-called white man, the Edomite, he's going to walk you into destruction. If you're a heathen, you have no choice. If you're an Israelite, well, you really don't have no choice either as a 2/3. If you're a 2/3, you know, everything's preordained, predestinated. The elect has been selected before the foundations of the earth. And so even the 2/3, the wicked portion of Israel, you're gonna walk right into that destruction. And the so-called white man, he's gonna basically confirm your destruction by giving you that RFID micro C-hip, the mark of the beast, right? AKA the mark of the beast. So it's already ordained through prophecy who's the elect, who's the 2/3, who's going to take the wicked device, who's not going to take it, right? It's already, everything's pre-written. We're just playing out the Lord's scriptures, the Lord's will, right? Let me see. Let me see, bear with me. But I'm looking at this article right now. It says UK to introduce mandatory digital ID cards for work. And this is 2 days ago. So, do you think that this is just going to be limited to the United Kingdom? You don't think that this is going to be a mandated thing in Babylon, America? Because if you're in that mindset, then you're an idiot. Because first of all, you have to understand and know that these nations, they're all corporations, and at the end of the day, there's one large, gigantic corporation, and it's really the wicked elite who are pulling all the. They're basically, this is the wicked elite's agenda. And you know how Trump, he was just like, I think last week he was in England rubbing elbows with what's his name? Let me get this real quick. I don't want to say things wrong. Let's see. Yeah. So Trump was in UK with Melania, his wife, at Windsor, right? That's in England, or that's in the United Kingdom. He met with Prime Minister Keir Starmer, right? And so that's the same dude. More than let me read this title of this article. More than 1.6 million sign a petition opposing Starmer's plan for digital ID cards. Okay? Keir Starmer, okay? That's a hell of a name. And so then you had just days before that, Donald J. Trump was out there meeting with him. So what do you think this is about? You think it's just going to be the United Kingdom? You people who are not in the fold of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, you're going to be fucked, man. You're not going to have no hedge, no protection. You heathen I'm not even talking to you. I'm talking to you Israelites who basically you are going to be walked into destruction. You're going to be leading the blind into a ditch, as the scriptures say. Right? You're going to follow your daddy, the devil, the so-called white man, the Edomite, the wicked that the Bible speaks of. Let me just read this real quick. This is from that article about more than 1.6 million sign a petition opposing Starmer's plan for digital ID cards. See, they're starting to feel the pressure cooker. They're feeling the anaconda squeeze over there in the UK. It says, Okay, let me read the article, a little bit of it. We'll read parts of it. It says, the petition says no one should be forced to register with a state-controlled ID system, which it describes as a step towards mass surveillance and digital control. Okay? This is the so-called white man. He's showing his horns, you know. His horns are popping up out of his head. And they're going to be fully exposed before you know it. It says the petition says no one... Okay, I read that part. It says petitions that receive more than 100,000 signatures are considered for a debate in Parliament, but there is little evidence of their success in shaping government policy. More than 6 million people signed one calling for Brexit to be reversed, right? But did that get reversed with all those signatures? So the point that they're making is it don't matter how many signatures you get, whatever the government policy is what's going to ultimately stand. Okay? But the problem is for Esau is this is only going to work to an extent. It's not going to his enterprise shall not be fulfilled, right? Let's get this real quick. Verse Job 5:12. It's talking about the so-called the wicked, so-called white man. He disappointed the devices. Talking about Yahweh regarding the wicked. He disappointed the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. What's their enterprise? Their enterprise is this RFID micro chip, the mark of the beast. Okay. And now you see the gradualism. You see that it's you know, the devil is moving because he knows he has a short time, like it tells you in Revelation 12:12. So guess what? He's proposing this wicked device. He's proposing his enterprise. Right? It says, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the froward is carried headlong. They meet with darkness in the daytime, and grope in noonday as in the night. Let's talk about these Edomites. They meet with darkness. What's darkness? The metaphor for a bad time for you heathen, and you 2/3. And these guys, they meet in the daylight, but it's the dark. These meetings are dark as hell. These summit meetings, these different just like the perfect example is Trump meeting with what's his name? Let me get it. Keir Starmer, Prime Minister Keir Starmer, right? Let me get a little background on this dude. And I apologize that I can't. Salakia, I can't put it on my screen, and the reason is every time I go to the Google, it automatically it fucks up my video. It halts it, it destroys the recording, and it also takes away the audio. So, you know, it is what it is. But anyway, Sir Keir Rodney Starmer, that's his name, is a British politician and lawyer who has served as prime minister. So he's a former attorney, and he's the prime minister. He must have took over Tony Blair's spot, right? And that's on me. I should know the state of, you know, the prime ministers of UK and stuff, because, you know, we are the watchmen. We're supposed to stay on top of these type of things. But hey, call al Yahweh Bashem Yashai. We're getting knowledge and edification about who these devils are. We're known by their names, right? So, yeah, he's he's one of the devils that's going to manifest this micro C hit. Okay? Yeah, man, you could look this dude up, and brothers who are diligent, look up this guy and just, you know, you want to know who your enemy is, right? Like when you're in war, you want to know the enemy. You gotta study the enemy. You know, because you know, it's like the 2/3. They have no idea who their enemy is, and that's why they're gonna die, because Yahweh Bashem Yashah is gonna destroy them, because they don't even know who their enemy is, right? So it's important. We got to look into these things. So I'm glad I pulled this up too, because I've been meaning to get at it, but we had camp yesterday, yeah, and then I really didn't do much. Today I did some workout and kind of kept to myself. I usually always do keep to myself these days, but it said, let me read this again. He disappointed the devices of the crafty so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. Okay. And I do want to get that word enterprise real quick. Let me see if this computer will probably repeat it, the definition. Enterprise definition. No, not prize.
According to vocabulary.
Enterprise definition.
Salakia,
hold on. It didn't get what I wanted. Because there's a good point I want to make with this enterprise word. Enterprise definition. Okay, here we go. So an enterprise is a project or undertaking, typically one that is difficult or requires effort. All right, and if you go into similar words, enterprise is an exercise, an undertaking, an operation, a mission, a plan, a scheme, right? So what is their enterprise? They're showing you. Their enterprise is the digital ID, the micro CHIP. And it says, let me read the definition again. A project or undertaking or a mission, typically one that is difficult or requires effort. And it's going to be difficult for this so-called white man to, implement this on the whole world, which we know the hour of temptation is going to come on all the inhabitants of the earth, right? Let's get that real quick. Revelation 3:10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. All right, and that hour of temptation is when your back is against the wall and you're in a position where the Esau, Edom, the devil, he's got his troops in front of your doorstep, at your door, what they call them, knock and talks. When they have the military or the police show up at your door, they call it a knock and talk. They knock on your door and they want to talk to you about something. And when you go out there, like, yo, it's going to be, all right, it looks here, according to our records, you haven't had your RFID micro CHIP implemented into you, so you have a choice to take it. They're going to, they'll be able to inject it in you right then and there, or they're going to tell you, or you can go to a FEMA camp or a prison or jail, right? That's going to be your choice, the hour of temptation. And then it's going to get so hyped up that to the point where there's not going to be much of a knock and talk. They're just going to bust the door down and either kill you on the spot, or they're going to put your head under a guillotine, right, and chop your head off. The Bible prophesies about that too, right? About the John the Revelator, he saw the prophets getting their heads getting decapitated for their testimony, for our testimony. So this thing's gonna get violent, The Most High is gonna put a spirit on these Edomites to come after you with great force and great violence. And that's always been his MO, the Edomite. Okay? So you got to know, like I started the lesson out, you got to know how to measure the time diligently. You got to know what time we're in. Right? Let me see. Let me get some more. I want to get some more. Let's see. Let me close this out. Britain to introduce compulsory digital ID for workers. And let's see the time frame. I'll see if I can get an article that tells you exactly when they're trying to do it. And I know I'm probably a day or two behind. I know brothers have been doing lessons on this. Salakia, we had camp yesterday and we kind of touched on this subject, but we didn't go too deep into it. But hey, Kala Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, we're in the time. We are in the time. Phone had a chime on that. We're in the time of the beast, the mark of the beast, man. Let's get that real quick. Revelation 12:12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. All right, so this devil, who is in the flesh, the devil manifested in the flesh is the so-called white man, the Edomite. His agenda, his enterprise is to put a micro C-hip in you. And in Greek, that mark of the beast, in the Greek word for mark is charagma. Charagma. All right? And if you're new, you got to look that up. Look up that word charagma in Greek. It's CHARAGMA. 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 All right, that's how you spell it, like CHARAGMA. Charagma. Well, you look that word up, it's going to tell you that it's a cutting in your flesh, a mark, or cutting in your flesh. And this devil, hey, man, it's beautiful for the prophets to see what's happening, that they're moving forward with this. And then, like we said, man, this is coming quick. I mean, we've been talking about this. It's starting out with our elders. Our elders, we've been blowing the trumpet, telling you, hey, we're warning the elect. Listen, this so-called white man, he's ready to put that mark in your ass. He's ready to take you down. Because if you're an Israelite, you take that device. Well, you made a that's your soul contract, like the celebrities, right? But basically, it's you sign, seal, delivered for destruction once you take that CHIP. And the men of GMS, we've been blowing the trumpet for a long time now. And now because most of you people don't believe we're the men of the Lord. But now that you see these things that we've been hearkening on, we've been harping on this topic. We've been diligently telling you about these plans of the wicked elite. Starting out with our elders. And now you guys are going to get them coming into that stage. Then shall they know that a prophet's been among them. When you see the chaos that this thing's going to bring. Because you got to understand, a lot of people are not going to want to take the device. There's going to be great resistance, just like they did with the jump shot that killed a lot of people for that pandemic, right? You know what I'm talking about. And again, we got to use code words. We got to speak in code, because these devils, they'll delete our videos. They'll give us strikes, right? They take down the videos when we speak the truth. Let's see. Here's another one on Bloomberg.com. And the reason why I'm not putting it on the phone is because you got to be a member to read Bloomberg's articles. But the title, it says UK to introduce mandatory digital ID cards in new Starmer reset. And what is that? That's the global reset, the Great Reset. Okay. See, and they're using, this is beautiful, I brought this up. Let me read this one to you. How would the BRIC card, the digital ID, work? It says, the BRIC card could mark the government's latest attempt to crack down on illegal migration. So it's going to go back to, immigration, la migra in Espanol, right? So that's what it is, man. They're going to blame it on the immigration problem, the immigration pandemic, like all the chaos that's happened, in the last, since Trump has been on his second term as a president, and now because you got immigration problems in Europe as well, namely the United Kingdom. But that's why they've been doing all this shit, propagating, making America great again, propagating, oh, we got to get rid of these illegal aliens, da da this and da 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 that. Well, this is all this is they remember the wicked elite. They have their order ab chaos, which is order out of chaos in Latin. Order de chaos. Order ab chaos. I always say it. I kind of mess it up, Salakia. But anyway, this has been their MO for centuries. They create chaos so that they can bring order in. And they're going to be justified by you simps, by you sheeple. They're justified because you say, oh shit, we need this digital ID. It's gonna fix the immigration problem. It's gonna fix the illegal alien problem, right? That's what that whole Charlie Kirk bullshit was about. It's all gradualism. Charlie Kirk was a sacrifice on the left-hand side, the ritual, one of the rituals of the Jesuits. All right, the Society of Jesus. Look into that. All right, the Society of Jesus. The Jesuits were the Illuminati, who's the real rulers of this wicked place. Right, Job 9:24. It says, "The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?" So the earth, the Bible tells you, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. That's why the so-called white man has this type of power where he can implement executive orders and laws such as this digital ID. This is his power. He's in rulership. This is his heaven. This is his kingdom. It's slipping away. So guess what? He's got to move quick, like we read in Revelation 12. He got no choice but to. Esau Edom got no choice but to move quick with his digital ID. Let me see. I'm just reading more of these articles. I'm going to cut the video short soon here in a little bit. But I'm just, it's important, and it's through the Spirit that, we be diligent and look into all of this. Because remember, I started out the lesson to measure the time diligently, to know how you're going to know where we are, what in history or in prophecy, if you don't know how to spiritually discern the times that we're in. Let me grab that again. 2nd Ezra 9:1. He answered me then and said, "Measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made." So we're in those times. Everything is manifesting. You got the nuclear missiles. You got the prophecy of the digital ID, the micro C-hip. And listen, the brothers of GMS, we've been telling you that there's major prophecies that we're waiting on before this place is, before we get the kingdom. And what is the one we tell you we've been waiting on is the micro C-hip. Because they've been rumors of wars, but guess what? We don't have to worry about war until the micro C-hip is made mandated, because we know that that's a prophecy. The prophecies are in order. Everything with Yahweh B'Shem Yoshai is done in decently and in order. So you have to, as a servant of Yahweh B'Shem Yoshai, if you think that the missiles can come before the micro C-hip, well, you're out of order. That's not the order of the prophecies. Like I say, everything is in order. Even the prophecies are in order. Okay, you can't have one prophecy, like, let's say that'd be like that'd be like the missiles coming before Yahushua came, or that'd be like Yahushua coming before John the Baptist. No, John the Baptist had to come first to prepare the way for Yahushua. So it's the same thing with the prophecies. All right, and that was a prophecy. But the thing is the micro-C-hip comes, and then the destruction comes, then the World War III comes, the nuclear. So now once we're getting to the nitty-gritty, right? So now once this stuff is made mandated, and right now it looks like it's starting out in the United Kingdom, but once it moves over to the Western world, aka Babylon America, then you can start taking those threats and rumors of war seriously, because that prophecy has to happen first. The micro-C-hip has to come first before the missiles. Okay, and that part of that reset, like I say, first of all, this digital ID, which they're not going to come and tell you the mark of the beast on a title, or they're not going to say the RFID micro-C-hip. They're not going to tell you that, but that's what they're calling it right now, just a digital ID. And what's a digital ID is, it's going to move towards that implant. Let's see. Let me actually, you know what? Let me look up that term digital ID real quick. Okay. All right, here we go. Oh shit, here it is. What is a digital ID? And this is what it says. And let me do this. I don't know if this is gonna mess up my audio or mess up my video, but okay. And I'm just gonna do this. Just put an image while I'm talking about speaking on it. Okay. So, and this is gradualism. All right. So I'll just leave that on the screen. So it's gradualism. The digital ID, and then it's gonna get manifest into that micro-C-hip, an implant in your hand or in your forehead, just like we read about it in Revelation, the 13th chapter. It says a digital ID is an electronic representation of an individual's identity used for online verification. It allows individuals to access various services, streamlining the authentication process across platforms. Traditional digital IDs are managed by centralized authorities and databases, while decentralized digital IDs give users full control over their personal information, enhancing privacy and security. Digital ID wallets offer a secure space to see, so how they're putting it like it's a good thing. They're wording it like it's a good, secure, safe, They're marketing it like it's something good, but we know through the Spirit that this is going to get worse and worse for the inhabitants of the earth, because once that digital ID is gradually becomes that RFID micro-C-hip that they're going to put in your hand. See, phone had a chime on that. They're going to put it in your hand, and you're going to be a part of the system, and you're going to be, if you don't take it, you're going to be looked at as an outlaw, fugitive. Be like right now, if I went outside and drove my car and I didn't have an ID and they pulled me over, they'll take me straight to jail. Right? It's illegal, right? It's illegal to drive without an ID. it's going to be like that in Babylon, where it's going to be illegal to do anything without a micro C-hip. So we are in some beautiful times. We are in the latter days, man. We're in the last days. And if you can't discern or you can't see what time we're in, it's because the Spirit's not working with you. And more than likely, if you're not able to discern the time we're in, you're going to be one of those because I'm talking to you Israelites. Like I say, fuck the heathen. The heathen, this ain't for you. You're effed either way, right? But you Israelites, you 2/3, the devil, he's going to show you his horns. He's going to walk you right into destruction, and he's going to put a micro C-hip, micro CHIP. He's going to put one in your hand or in your forehead, and you're going to let him, because he's marketing it to you all juicy, and you 2/3 who are sottish children, you're gonna get in line. You're in a cut in line, matter of fact, because he's gonna market it so good that you're gonna think it's a good thing. It's gonna be like the newest version of the iPhone, and you're gonna take it. And then once you do that, you're through. The Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yoshai, are gonna put you to death as an Israelite. The heathen, that goes without saying. But you 2/3, your destiny is a micro C-hip, and that's an alliance with the wicked one, with Esau Edom. You're basically like those celebrities signing their soul to the devil once you take that device. All right? So that's it. That's where the Spirit went. That's what the Spirit wanted me to bring that lesson out, and that's what it is. So it is what it is. So with that, I want to give all the praise, all the glory, all the honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me the truth. Also want to acknowledge Alakim, who are pushing the truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of their Shalom, to the elect Shalom.